I don't care what you say.
How you doing, everybody? This is Hydrovin back here. We're continuing our series on hydrogen generators installation, MAP or MAF sensors. MAP sensors are manifold absolute pressure sensors. They're located on your vehicle. Right now we're using our 1996 Toyota. Well, we have a Geo Prism. It's basically the same as a 1996 Toyota Corolla. In this particular vehicle we have a MAP sensor, MAP. In other vehicles there's a MAF sensor, which stands for mass airflow sensor. I'm going to show you where it's located on this vehicle and how to determine which wires are the wires that you need to use. Basically, what you want to do is control the amount of gasoline that the computer is going to be distributing throughout your engine. When we introduce hydrogen to the motor, what we want to do is cut back on the fuel and replace it with hydrogen instead of just wasting the fuel. Okay, it's very important that you know where it's located. On this particular car, it's located on the firewall of the car. I know I've been looking at some places, and the best thing to do is to call manufacturers, go into Chilton or a Haynes book, and find your MAP sensor or your MAF sensor. Okay? The best way to determine which is the power and which is the ground, we have a very simple ammeter right here. Okay? This is basic stuff right here. You need one with a gauge if you have a MAF sensor. Since I've located my MAP sensor, I have the ignition turned on, but I do not have the car running. Okay, car is not running. What I do is I'll take this, disconnect this sensor wire right here, and with the ground, with my black on the ground, I will test my 3 wires right inside here. Okay. See, I have power. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's my power right there. Go to my second one. I've got a small power, low power. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for that power, that 12 volt power, okay? And then with this 12 volt, once I found the 12 volt, I can check the other 2 leads, and boom, there's my ground. So now I know that my middle wire, since I have a 12 volt on one side and a ground on the other, I know my middle wire inside that little clip, my middle wire is my sensor unit. Okay? And what I'll do is I'll leave the other 2 wires alone, and I'll splice into this wire. I'll just cut that wire, this middle wire. I'll cut it. I'll run 1 wire to my sensor, and back from my sensor I'll run a wire to the other side of that, my original. Okay, everybody, so let's recap what we have. We have located our MAP sensor. That's the most important thing that we needed to do. After that, we will determine which wires are which. We found our 12 volt power supply. We could have used a dummy light to do that. Once we found our power supply, we just test the other 2 wires. We found our ground, leaving us process of elimination, our sensor wire. On a MAF sensor, MAF, that's a mass airflow sensor. It takes a little bit more to determine what your sensor wire is. What you will have on a MAF sensor is between 5 and 7 wires usually. Once you've located that unit, and again, call your local auto parts store or find a Chilton or a Haynes book and actually find which sensor, where your sensor is located. Once you've found your sensor, what you need to do is get your gauge out and test those wires. And the key is in the on position. You need to check and find your 12 volt power supply. Again, doing the same thing you did on the MAP sensor, you can find your ground with that. Now you should have 2 constant power supplies. One's going to be a low voltage around 5 volts. One's going to be a 12 volt power supply. Once you've located your low voltage, your ground, and your 12 volt power supply, you'll have between 2 and 4 wires left. Now mark those 2 and 4 wires, mark their existing wires, and then you need to start the car. Start the car with the sensor plugged in, and put your pin through the back of the sensor through the wires, and have someone accelerate the gas. And in one of those existing wires, one of those wires that are left, you'll see it's raise and lower your voltmeter depending on how much signal it's sending. When you find that wire, that's the wire that you need to tap into. That's your sensor wire. And that's all we're going to cover right now. Once you've located that wire, you can hook up your map sensor enhancer. Now, several different map sensor enhancers that you can get. We'll go over those. It's very important, one last note that I want to put in. If you've gotten to this point and you've already hooked your map sensor enhancer, it's necessary. You must turn your map sensor enhancer off when you start your car. You must not leave it in the on position, or your computer will sense that there is a manipulation, which is basically what we're doing. We're manipulating that computer. Your computer will sense that, and it'll go into like a default setting, okay? And it'll disperse more fuel than you really need. It'll keep that loop open. And what you want to do is close that loop by let the computer think that everything's running fine. Locate our wire on our map sensor. That's all we're really covering tonight. Next video we'll get into actually hooking one up in the car and how to adjust it. Alright, that's it from me. This is Hydrovin. We'll see you next time.